Hey friends, my name is Marcello. Today I'm going to be giving you my impressions on the Topping A90 Headphone Amplifier sent over for me to review by the great team at AposAudio. They did not pay me for this review, and all thoughts and impressions are my own. For this review, I'll be listening to the A90 paired with my own Topping D90 digital analog converter, as well as A/B listening to the A90 versus the SMSL THX SP200, which I currently own. I'm looking to determine if the A90 is a worthy upgrade to my current THX. As with all my audio reviews, I will utilize all my headphones in my collection to search for synergies with the A90 amp, as well as comparisons to my current solid-state reference amp. I will cover 5 main topics: build quality, specifications, design, and quality of sound. Then I will give my overall conclusions. So let's get right into it. The Topping A90 is the companion headphone amp for the awesome sounding Topping D90 digital analog converter. The D90 DAC utilizes the latest high performance flagship AKM AK4499 chip. The D90 digital analog converter also has Bluetooth 5.0 and is capable of high-res audio through wireless. Most importantly, it sounds really good. I've owned the D90 DAC for a while and was really excited to get the Topping A90 headphone amp in for review to see how they matched up. Starting with build quality, specs, and design, the Topping A90 is an ultra high performance headphone amplifier that also works as a preamplifier for active speakers. I tested the preamplifier with my active speakers and confirmed the preamp sounds great, and this is a very welcome feature. The A90 sports a clean looking enclosure and looks excellent stacked with my Topping D90. All the connections on the back of the A90 and D90 are located in the proper places and line up for easy hookups. You have a balanced XLR inputs and outputs on the back along with RCA connections. The power supply is built into the unit, so you don't have to worry about a power brick sitting on your desk. The design also gives me a little more appreciated weight to the amp when plugging in and removing headphone cables. On the front of the unit, you have 3 toggle switches. All 3 of the switches have satisfying clicks and feel well built. The first switch is the headphone amplifier power switch, accompanied by a green light when it's turned on. One more click up and you have the preamplifier, signified by an orange light when toggled on. The next toggle switch is the input settings from balanced XLR to RCA. The last toggle is the gain settings, which gives us 3 options: low for sensitive headphones and IEMs, medium, and high gain. The A90 is significantly more powerful when running balanced out with an impressive 7600 milliwatts at 16 ohms, 6400 milliwatts at 32 ohms, 1000 milliwatts at 300 ohms, and 500 milliwatts at 600 ohms. Lots of power while maintaining less than 0.1% total harmonic distortion. In other words, just the source music and clean, powerful, transparent sound. When comparing to the A90 single-ended output, there is less power with 3300 milliwatts at 16 ohms, 2000 milliwatts at 32 ohms, 250 milliwatts at 300 ohms, and 125 milliwatts at 600 ohms. This is important to take into consideration if you currently don't have balanced cables and are only planning on using single-ended headphone cables. I will link to the full product specs in the video description below for those of you who like to go deep into the numbers. For everyone else, let's just say this amp is incredibly powerful, capable of driving nearly any headphone while also having the ability to use with more sensitive in-ear monitors. Continuing with the design, we have 3 headphone outputs on the front of the A90, a balanced 4-pin XLR, a 4.4mm balanced output, and a 1/4-inch single-ended. For this review, I tested both the 4-pin balanced XLR output and the single-ended output. Last but not least, we have the volume control. The first thing I did when hooking up the A90 is test it for channel imbalance. I noticed no imbalance even at the lowest volume levels. The volume pot feels smooth and easy to turn. The volume knob feels lightweight and is a bit on the shorter side. The volume knob may not feel quite as beefy and solid as some other amps I own, but it doesn't bother me as the volume control seems very precise. The amp does get noticeably warm when in use, but not extremely hot. The amp is provided with a 1-year warranty from Topping. However, if you purchase from AposAudio from the links below, they will also provide you with a 2nd-year warranty, 30-day return policy, and their lowest price guarantee. So let's talk about the quality of sound. The A90 headphone amp paired with the D90 DAC are excellent companions audibly. They are transparent sounding, allowing the quality of the music and the recording to fully present itself. The The A90 headphone amplifier has some of the lowest measured noise and distortion, which is actually inaudible to the human ear. If your goal is to have a reference level headphone amplifier and DAC, the A90 and D90 team are hard to beat for their respective price brackets. Objectively speaking, will a person be able to hear the differences between the Topping A90 and some of the other THX amps? My answer to that question would be maybe with some headphones. The A90 has more power than any of the current THX amps similarly priced, including the 789, SP200 THX, and the 887. Some headphones may respond better with the additional power. Also, the higher the quality of the transducer or headphone speaker, the more likely you may be able to notice the subtle differences. Listening to the A90 amp and D90 DAC paired with a HiFi and Ananda, I was presented with a very detailed and analytical sounding experience. I ran the A90 on medium gain, which presented a very tight and transparent sound. The amp enabled the headphones to sound very good with an open sounding soundstage with precise imaging and great separation. I listened through my standard playlist, which I'll link in the description below, and found most tracks to be very enjoyable, depending on the quality of the recording. I then navigated to listening to several classical playlists on Qobuz and high resolution audio. I definitely did not want to stop listening as the music sounded beautiful. Listening to well-recorded high-resolution classical music with the Ananda and the A90-D90 stack is an excellent listening experience. The A90 is one of the most transparent amps measured right now, so if the recording is bad, it won't do the music any favors like a hybrid tube amp would. However, subjectively speaking, it sounds slightly more enjoyable to me than the SP200 THX. Pairing the A90 with the ZMF Aeolus, the headphones sound engaging and impactful. The bass sounds tight with great impact, lush mids, and with just the right amount of detail. When listening to the Aeolus, I ran them in medium and high gain, and preferred them in high gain. Listening to Single's 2016 remaster from New Order, and this song has me bobbing my head and tapping my foot. The sound of the Aeolus with the A90-D90 combo is a detailed, energetic, and impactful music listening experience. Listening to Avicii True and the A90 continues to sound transparent, and the music is shining through thanks to the incredible tuning of the ZMF Aeolus. Day Tripping from Cascade featuring Estelle, once again, the energy of the ZMF Aeolus and the Topping amp and DAC have me thoroughly engulfed in the music. As I said in my ZMF Aeolus review, those headphones are just truly capable of sounding good on any amp and DAC I've ever tested them with. If you haven't checked out that review on my channel, you should give it a watch. I evaluated the Topping A90 amp next with my Dan Clark Audio Eon 2 closed, which are my current go-to headphones for closed-back listening. These headphones, as well as many DCA headphones, are notorious for needing higher voltage in order to sound proper. Listening to them via the single-ended connection in high gain, I noticed that they were not sounding as good as I knew they could. Switching to my Gravedigger balanced XLR headphone cable from Corpse Cables, and I heard a noticeable difference in quality of sound. The Eon 2 closed sound very lively, clean, detailed, and the darkness of any background noise when listening really stands out from the distortion-free sound of the Topping A90. Listening back and forth between the Topping A90 and the SMSL THX, subjectively speaking, I hear slightly better impact and a tighter sound all the way around. Listening with the Sennheiser HD660s, I listened to some additional songs besides my normal playlist in the video description. Those songs were American Girl from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Back to Black from Amy Winehouse, Ultraviolence from Lana Del Rey, and several Chopin tracks. It is difficult to audibly distinguish between the SMSL THX amp and the A90 when volume matched on high gain and listening with the Sennheiser HD660s. Subjectively speaking, I felt I may have noticed a touch cleaner sound, slightly tighter lower frequencies, and less fatigue in the peaks on some of the not as well recorded tracks when listening to the A90 compared to listening versus the SMSL THX. This could be the benefit of the more power the A90 provides, as a Sennheiser HD660s are definitely more headphone that's kind of picky on what amp they like. The A90 doesn't really help to remove the famous 650 veil, however, like an OTL tube amp or hybrid amp tends to help with. If the track isn't recorded well, you will definitely hear it with both the A90 and the THX, as they are transparent and true to the music. Lastly, I listened with my Campfire Audio Polaris version 2 in-ear monitors. When listening, I utilize a single-ended output and low gain to test for any noise issues and quality of sound. They sounded fun and enjoyable with no noticeable noise issues. IEMs are not my favorite, as I don't usually enjoy them in my ears for longer than an hour, but for a person that enjoys IEMs, the Topping A90 may be a great headphone amp to look at. In conclusion, the value proposition of the Topping A90 headphone amp versus the other THX amps, in my opinion, is the better build and design. It is an excellent complement or stack for a current D90 owner or someone who is currently considering the Topping D90 DAC. You have more power, lower measured noise and distortion, a built-in power supply versus a power brick in some of the other amps, and a better looking enclosure in my opinion than the other THX offerings in a similar price range. I will list links to some of the gear used and discussed in this review, along with a few other options in a few different price ranges for you to give a look at. Something to keep in mind though, if you are only going to use single-ended quarter-inch headphone cables and have headphones that may benefit from more power from this connection, you may want to consider the SMSL SP200 THX for almost half the cost when it's on sale. However, you do give up, in my opinion, the better build quality, better measurements, 3 gain settings, a built-in preamplifier for active speakers, and the ability to use sensitive IEMs when choosing the SMSL SP200 THX instead of choosing the Topping A90. I think if you are really into this hobby and want at least one great solid-state amp to truly hear the music as it was recorded, the A90 is an excellent reference amp for the price. Now the big question for me is, do I replace my current reference THX amp with a Topping A90? I think I know the answer, but leave me a comment below with your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, friends, much love.